All right, guys. I told you I was super excited about this episode, and here we are right now. And I am live on LinkedIn, and I'm so excited about having this guest on from Vidyard Video, Cristiana Montenegro, who you're going to see right now is going to share some awesome insights on using the Vidyard app. So let's just jump right into it. And let me introduce you. Cristiana is a dedicated partnerships manager at Vidyard that is committed to helping businesses transform communications and drive more revenue through the strategic use of online video. Strategic being the key, underline it because that's the word that we have to use when we're talking about contacting these prospects. During her time at Vidyard, Cristiana has created over $1 million in pipeline. During her time as a business development rep, she's created over 3,500 videos. She wrote 3,500 last week. I'm sure that number is over. So I'm going to say over 3,500, ranging from creative prospecting messages to video proposals. One time she even dressed up as a chicken in a chicken costume to get her prospects' attention, which we're going to talk to her about. What was that all about? She's learned a lot during her time here at Vidyard and is excited to share all that knowledge with you. So without further ado, let me introduce you. Hello, Cristiana. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so excited to speak to you because I wanted to tell you, I think I shared this with you when we first was setting this episode up. In the middle of the summer, I discovered Vidyard Video for the first time. I was at a training at the company I was at, and I just fell in love with it right away. And I started jumping on the platform, and I realized immediate results where we started getting customers and prospects to engage with me or re-engage with me. People who had gone dark, people who had just weren't paying attention to me at all. All of a sudden, I was getting feedback. So I started falling in love with the platform. Then I downloaded the app. Then I just got more and more into it. So I am a big fan of Vidyard Video. And when we were doing this, when we were setting up this podcast series called Selling During Crisis, and talking to a lot of other sales reps, the fact that I said I had to get somebody from Vidyard to be a part of this, otherwise this was going to be a bust. So I just want to say thank you so much for being on. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. First off, I didn't know you were going to hit them with the Latino accent, the Cristiana Montenegro. You had to do it.
I had to do it. Listen, that's the only right. There's only one right way to say it, right? That's how you have to do it.
Absolutely.
There you go. Cool. So let me ask you this. Let's start off right off the bat because we're going to talk about Vidyard. We're going to get into all the details of it, but talk to me about, salespeople who don't even know about Vidyard Video. They just heard you dressed up in a chicken costume. The heck was all about? What was that all about? Why did you do a chicken costume, and what was the results of that video?
So back in my business development days for prospecting and trying to break into new accounts, I had this genius idea of raiding Vidyard's basement at the time and finding out, what costumes we had in there. We've always been known for creating amazing Halloween videos and Christmas videos. So there's lots of goodies in there. But I found a chicken costume and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use this chicken costume to create a video that I can use in my cadences to kind of disturb the flow of my regular emails and have something in there that's like, hey, I didn't hear back from you. What are your thoughts on my previous video? And send that with my chicken costume video.
Wow. Amazing. So that is very creative, right? So when we're going to talk about Vidyard Video in general, but then we're going to get into creative ways to use it. So I'm glad that we kind of teed that up and shared that because it's all about how creative your mind can be and and it's about having fun. So that's what I love about the app. So let's first talk about Vidyard Video. It's a way to communicate with your prospects using video as a method to reach these folks. So, look, sales and marketing put together, kind of like we're cousins, right? They're tough jobs, even in the best of times. And then now we drop this global pandemic in the middle of it. And that is going to be, it almost makes sales damn near impossible. But then when I discovered this, like I said, in the summertime, and I had to reinvent myself in terms of how to reach to, my prospects. I couldn't dress up anymore, and couldn't do the face-to-face. I couldn't put on the suits anymore. How did I, it made even the most resilient person put them to the test. So, when we talk about not having face-to-face meetings, talk to me about why is Vidyard so powerful and why is video communication so powerful?
Yeah, that's That's a great question, especially like you put it amidst everything that's been going on with COVID and just like what Vidyard's tagline is right now. And I think it speaks to the moment is use video to close the distance. And everybody can't be having those face-to-face meetings. Like you said, we're not getting dressed up. We're not having those dinner meetings. We're not meeting people and doing a handshake deal. And how do we bring that human connection back into everything? It's by sending out a video and establishing who you are and why you're reaching out and putting a face to your name to make all the difference and become more humanized in that sales way. Everything right now, if you're not using video, I don't know what you're doing really, because everything would be automated and just email after email with a bunch of text, and you're not really standing out as the other individual on the other side of that email.
Standing out. That's the key, right? Because there's so many salespeople out there, not only in your own company, but in your competitions out there and other industries. And everyone is trying to sell these folks. And the buyer is just getting overwhelmed and inundated with all these emails, and they're just putting you to spam, or they're just hitting the delete button. So you have to stand out. And I believe personally that Vidyard Video allows you to have that whether it's an email or if you're hitting them up on social media, you definitely stand out with that. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can stand out, right? Because I've seen a lot of your videos, a lot of the videos I've done, in the animated thumbnail, the first couple of seconds I'm waving, or
Yep.
I'll have a clipboard with their name, or you'll be in a chicken costume or whatever. One video I did, I ate barbecue, so I ate a hot sauce, which I don't like, to try to get a prospect's attention. So talk to me about, how do you stand out? What is the key? Let's start to drill into, now you've got the platform, you're starting to make some videos. What is the key to stand out?
To me, I've been a huge fan of personalization. So if you're doing videos on an account-based basis, I would say make it relevant to the company as a whole, whether you have some of their swag, whether you have their logo, or you can draw their logo in the background, or create a virtual background that speaks specifically to that company. Or if you're going on an individual basis, maybe this person talks about a specific baseball player on their LinkedIn profile. You want to make that video and include maybe the baseball player's card, or talk about that baseball player in the first 5 seconds and make it relevant to the individual that you're reaching out to.
Yeah, that's critical and key. I mean, that to me is awesome. Whether if you have, like you said, some swag, if you have a shirt from the company, throw up that shirt in the beginning. Make sure to click animated thumbnail, not static thumbnail. So in the first 3 seconds, they see you doing whatever you're doing, because that's going to be engaging on their email. It's definitely going to be different and help you to stand out. So I appreciate you saying that. So now let me ask you this question. When I started using the platform and I started sharing some of the videos with other salespeople that I'm connected to here on LinkedIn and other places, a lot of feedback that I personally got, which I'm sure you probably hear too. So I want to know how you kind of feel those questions, because I'm sure people in the audience, we have a couple people on the live right now listening. So talk to me. I hear a lot about people saying, well, I'm uncomfortable being in front of the camera, right? I don't like the way I look. I don't know what to say. I don't have, what do I don't know what kind of cadence to use. It's kind of weird. It is. And I remember it was awkward for me in the very beginning. You're sitting in front of your room, you're by yourself, and you're talking to yourself, right? You don't really understand what, is this going to work? Is this not? How silly is this going to be? So what about that person who understands that video communication is a new tool that they can use in their arsenal, but they're just afraid to get on camera?
Yeah, listen, whoever's thinking that, you are preaching to the choir, because when I first joined Vidyard, I had never made a video of myself speaking to screen ever before. And it's something that obviously you have to get over that hurdle, get over that hump by. Practice makes perfect. And I think in our UI, in our interface, and just in the product in itself, there are different ways to make you feel more relaxed to creating those videos. I'd say definitely number one main hitter there is when you're creating a video inside of our Chrome extension, you have the option in that selfie style video, just like seeing yourself on camera, to write a script out, sort of like a teleprompter mode, and be able to read that off. If you're not comfortable being able to say things off the cuff, you have that option. But you can always create videos in other aspects, like if you want to reach out to a prospect and create a video on their LinkedIn, there's always an option to toggle off that little bubble at the bottom so that you're not seen, but you're still creating that video and reaching out to that individual in a personalized way.
Interesting. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then we're talking about, in the theme of standing out and how to use the platform correctly, right? We also have the Vidyard app, whether you have an iPhone or a Samsung, smartphone. There's an app in the Play Store for you guys, that you can use for Vidyard, and it's an absolutely free app. And I've used that app a lot. Sometimes I want to go remote. Maybe there's been times where I'm standing in front of the customer's building, or I'm outside or whatever, and I want to show them something, and you want to be a little bit more creative like that. You don't want to just sit in front of your computer and shoot videos all day. So talk to me a little bit about the app. How does that benefit folks, and how have you used it?
So the app, to me, it is really great because you can link it to your account that you have on the computer, so on your Chrome extension, and log into the one and the same account. So if you, for example, sent a video before lunch and just head off to lunch, you can still get that notification on your phone letting you know when someone's watched your video and for how long, which makes it appropriate in that time for you to reach out, because in that second they just finished watching that video. You don't have to wait to go back home on your computer or wherever it is that you're logging back in on. And the other thing is, it gives you the ability to create videos on the fly. You don't necessarily have to have a computer with you at all times. If you get an email that comes in from one of your customers or your prospects or whoever, you can respond right there and then and send it out through our email link.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. You're eating lunch or something, you get that response that you want, or you get some sort of thing and you say, man, this would be great. Instead of just sending out another email and replying back to it and having this long chain of emails, I could just shoot a quick video and say everything I wanted to say in a quick minute, and it would be so unique and engaging, and that's what I've used it for too. So I'm glad that you said that. Now, you did touch on something about analytics, right? We were talking about seeing when they viewed it, how long. So I use the pro version. There's no way I'm going basic, right? I gotta get more analytics. So what is the advantage? Obviously, free is free, but what are some of the advantages about upgrading to the pro?
So for an individual case-by-case basis, I think when you're starting off with video, of course, free is great so you can get used to the platform, how to record, how to upload, and how to share videos out. The upgraded version to the pro for an individual license, the advantages there are, once you're comfortable creating videos, you can really take a look at creating call to actions for your videos. So as an example, in my videos, as I'm sure you've seen, Jonathan, I always have my videos end with my calendar link at the end. So if I'm pitching and I'm saying whatever, at the end of my video, I always want to make sure the last 3 seconds are, and by the way, book in my calendar right here. So that's another thing that you get in our pro license. And I would say a couple other things to consider when you are looking to up your video strategy is being able to customize the logo and the colors of your branded sharing page when you're sending out those videos. Of course, that it lands into another sharing page. And for us on the free side, it's always going to be Vidyard. And Vidyard everywhere, which is great because we get inbound leads that way. But if you want to make it yours and unique, you can upgrade to the pro and customize it for yourself.
Well, so what I do is after this is done, right, I always kind of find a clip that I can promote the episode. And I think I just found my clip, right? Because that's awesome. Putting your calendar at the end. I mean, how you're using what's called a call to action, right? So that way you can get the person to respond and get what you ultimately want, which is book an appointment. That's what this is all about, get engagement. So I'm excited. I want to keep on going. What we have some members in the audience that are watching, and they're asking a bunch of questions. So I wanna share some with you. One comes from the president of Sim Central Florida, Lawrence DeJoya, and he asks, how can an association like SIM stands for Society of Information Management, use this to drive membership and solicit philanthropic donations for our foundation? Now, let me just give you a little context of SIM. I'm a member of SIM Central Florida as well. They have SIM chapters all across the country. And what it is where IT leaders get together and share best practices and talk about, initiatives and things like that. And SIM actually gives back to the community. We call it the voice of Central Florida, right? When it comes to IT. So what we're looking though, obviously every year we're trying to find new members to bring into the group. So I understand where Larry's question is coming from. So let's talk about how can we use Vidyard video to maybe reach those IT practitioners who are on the fence of joining our chapter. How would you do that?
That's a great question. I think video can be used for recruitment purposes. It's a great way to get to know someone's personality and be able to engage with them before getting to meet them in real life. And when it comes to recruiting individuals, I think you can, if you're reaching out to IT people and asking them to create a video of why they'd like to join SIM, that would be phenomenal. Or you can make a video and talk about why SIM is the place to join and be, and just exactly everything that you do for South Central Florida. And in terms of gaining those donations, we actually have a lot of NGOs that we work with that we create, videos that are personalized, and then they send out these videos with a call to action in between, in the middle, or at the end of the video, where you can link out the page where you're accepting donations. You can link it and make it live so that that person that just finished watching that email video can now be directed to your website so that they can go and contribute.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Hopefully, Larry, that helped you out. And that's some great tips. And if we have any more questions, let's keep on putting them in the comments, because we want to make sure we get the most that we can get out of Cristiana right now. We got her. So let's ask her the questions, guys. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also want to give you some of the feedback. We have one of the LinkedIn users that's saying, I'm finding this service to be very helpful. I know that I totally agree with that. So awesome. We're getting great feedback, Cristiana. Let's keep it going. So what I want to ask you is this, right? Let's talk a little bit about social media now, right? We can send an email out, embed the video into the email, and reach our clients from there. What about using social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that? How does that work?
So in our platform, you can actually push a video out to those social media platforms as well. But for me, something that I found in prospecting that worked quite well, I might add, is being able to send out a video on LinkedIn as a follow-up. If you haven't gotten them to watch it via email, if they haven't opened up your email, you could reach out and say something simple like, hey, thanks so much for connecting. Wanted to get a chance to get this over to you on LinkedIn. Thought it might be easier. Sent you a video, let's say December 1st. No, you haven't gotten a chance to watch it. Here's the link. Let me know what you think. And then right there and then you'll be able to see when they read it on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. And now let me ask you this question, right? So we talked about the emails. We talked about the social platform. What happens if someone doesn't respond, right? Like, let's say they viewed the video and you can tell they had that view. You can see they viewed the whole thing or whatever, but they never responded to you. How do you follow up when you know someone watched your video?
Yeah, of course. That's a great question. So when it comes to someone, let's say they've watched 75% of my video, you best believe they're getting a call. Don't let those things go to waste, because if you were able to send a video and garner their attention for 60 seconds, that means they're interested in what you have to say. And maybe in that moment, they didn't want to reach out, but the interest is still lingering there. So you want to take advantage, either call them right away, LinkedIn right away, or if you want to be cheeky, you can use the email notification that you get from Vidyard saying this person watched 75% of your video, and forward that off to them and be like, hey, what'd you think of my video?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great follow. Sometimes what I personally do is I know that they watched the video. I'll just reply back. Let's say it's an email in this case, or whatever, social media, whatever it is. I'll reply back to that and say, hey, noticed you viewed the video. What did you think? Like, keep it very short and generic. Just give me some feedback, right? And usually that hey, I saw the video. I just haven't gone back a chance. I loved it. We'll get in touch with you next week or whatever. So, here's a good question that actually we call him Larry. He says Lawrence on the screen. But Larry wanted to ask, with all the advanced spam filters and email overload, is email dead? So answer that question. But I also want to ask you, how is it that we're able to get through? I deal with a lot of IT folks, right? So I send an email and their firewalls are going to like maybe stop it, maybe send it to spam. So not only is email dead is the question, but also how do you break through some of those firewalls? How is it embedded?
So, Larry, great question with the is email dead? In my opinion, it's definitely not. In any case, it's doubled down. People have doubled down in email since the start of COVID. We got this huge report from our friends over at HubSpot that say I think it used to be over 130 emails were sent to the executive level on a weekly basis to get prospected. But then when COVID hit, it's now sitting around 240. So if those 240 emails are sitting in a CEO's inbox or an executive level's inbox, best believe you want to send a video one to stand out from the rest of them. And in terms of how you don't get caught up in spam filters and such. Our dev team is obviously super smart. And with the tool, when we send it out and drop in a video, you have a thumbnail portion and you also have a link portion. So because those things don't play in line with the email itself and it guides you to a branded sharing page, that's why you won't get caught up in those filters.
That's why I use it when, like I said, that was one of my biggest fears. And a lot of my colleagues, that also, are buyers, are IT, folks, directors of ITs, VP of ITs, they know, hey, I'm not going to click on a link, right? We're kind of trained to not do that. But the fact that it's embedded in the email, it has that animated thumbnail and everything that you just said, is why we're still getting those extreme numbers that we're getting, from engagement on our videos that we send out, whether it's social or email or whatever. So yeah, Larry, I think I don't think email's dead, but obviously, we talk about different trends and things changing. And look, I want to make it clear, right? I think you would agree with this, Cristiana. It's not, it's not the magic bullet. No one has a magic bullet, because if we had a magic bullet, we'd be sitting doing this podcast in Tahiti. I wouldn't be doing this from Orlando, Florida, right? But I will tell you that this is another tool in the arsenal, but man, this is a big tool in the arsenal, right? Think of it like the hammer. The hammer is not like, it's not like, it's just another tool. But if you don't have that hammer, you're not going to be able to drive that nail home. And so that is what I look at Vidyard Video. It's the hammer in my toolbox. One of the most important tools that I have. So awesome stuff there. Let me ask you this question, right? We're talking about emails. Is email dead? A lot of, in my industry, in sales, and in our industry, there's a lot of we'll call them seasoned professionals. I use the word seasoned as another way to say old. Sorry, guys, but there's seasoned professionals. And they say, man, this video communication, I'm not going to get on a freaking video thing. And, that's a fad. They use that word. Sales managers, old timers, right? And they're like looking at this as kind of like just the next thing and the next trend. But now with this, we've learned a lot with everything that's going on with COVID. And even when COVID is done, this is going to be kind of like a new norm in terms of organizations can realize, wow, we could have people work remote. We don't have to have everyone being in an office all the time. So yeah, I'm not going to go to the office just to have a meeting, or maybe I go to the office Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, you want to have a meeting, set me up with a Zoom. So this is kind of going to be the new norm going forward. So what would you say to that person, the seasoned professional that's like, that Vidyard thing is just a fad?
To the seasoned professional, I think, you've likely lived through the times where business meetings happened on a golf course, or taking out someone for dinner, or just doing a handshake deal real quick. And unfortunately, we're in a space and in a world and in a time where that's no longer possible. But what did those key things have in common? And it's just being able to relate to the other person on the side of you, being able to get along with them and share good times with them. And that's something that video allows you to do, is break through that barrier of not being just in another anonymous name in an email, but understanding who the person is on the other side. And I definitely would say it's not a fad, because with the accelerated growth, and we've seen really kind of forced adoption within the last 9 months. We've had our friends at McKinsey or HubSpot, everybody's released these fabulous reports that talk about sales teams that didn't get on the video selling train at the beginning of COVID are now playing catch up and aren't making their pipeline, aren't hitting their numbers, and are really squirming and trying to figure out what to do. And the answer is just implement video.
Awesome. Yep. And I didn't even know those stats. So what I do know is, like, I read on LinkedIn where it said there was a stat that said that 81% of people do feel like once this is all over, they can continue to work from home and be remote and be effective. So 100% what you're saying, I think that's going to be in line. And so if you're not, look, it's not a fad, guys. This is going to be the new way that we communicate. And like I said, another tool in your arsenal that you can have. There's still going to be those, phone calls and those emails, but this is definitely a tool that you want to have. So let's talk about going forward in the future, right? We talked about a bunch of different things, how to use and leverage the platform. Now let's talk about the future when we see 2021 and beyond. Tell us a little secret, something that's going on new with Vidyard, anything cool happening, what's in the pipeline for new tools and tricks that, a guy like me can use when I'm trying to prospect. Anything cool coming up?
Oh man, I would get in so much trouble from the dev team if I had some secrets. But I don't know if you saw what was recent. Our awesome CEO, Michael Litt, the day that Salesforce announced they bought Slack, we also announced a really cool integration with Slack. So now if you have Slack or use Slack for your office communications, you can literally have Vidyard in there, type /Vidyard and record a video on the fly for internal communications purposes as well.
Yep, guys, I tried to get it, but she had to protect herself. But at least she told. That was brand new. I didn't even realize that was the case. So that's an awesome new tool that I'm going to start looking into. But I definitely appreciate it. I wanted to show you. Now it says LinkedIn user, but I can tell it's Luis Ramirez. He's in the comments there. He says that 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact, which we know, right? This is a great way to break through, as Cristiana referenced. So definitely giving us some great feedback there. And again, it's, you do that cold call, you do that first, voicemail, then you get an email. They're not responding, and then you're right. You usually on the 5th to 12th touch point is where you're going to get that person to react. So this is just going to be another tool, one of those other touch points, but something that's going to make you different and separate you from the rest. So totally agree with what Luis said. So now let me ask you this, guys. And if you guys have any other questions or comments, whoever's on the stream right now, please let me know. Post it up in the comment section, and I'll share it with Cristiana to see if we can pick her brain a little bit more. But let me ask you this question now. We're talking about using the platform, talking about using the app, different ways to use it in a creative way. But how do you know, like, when do you know, when do you feel like you've become a video selling master?
So that's a trick question to me. And I'd say you never want to feel like you're a video selling master, because that means you've gotten stale in your prospecting and video methods. You always want to be on the ball, thinking of new ideas. But in the sense of being comfortable with video, you'll know when you don't need to use the teleprompter feature anymore, or when you just feel like, man, this video is already over and I already just recorded like 15 on the fly for today. You'll know when you get at that comfortable spot. I mean, it's somewhere between efficiency and comfortableness. That's not a word, but we'll use it.
All right, it works. Listen, it all works. You know what I noticed about using the video from my personal perspective and using Vidyard? For me, it's more you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be exact about everything that you do. It's more like it's okay if you make a mistake, because you look more real when you're doing it versus being scripted. Vidyard has a cool little thing when you use the Chrome extension, guys, in case you don't know, where you can put kind of your script and your text at the top and you can read it and, you can use that. But for me, it's like, man, just be natural. If I mess up on a word, keep going, right? If I say something that maybe is not a real word or whatever it is, who knows if that word Christiana uses a real word, and I don't know. But the point is that just keep going. The reason we do these LinkedIn lives is because it's like we're just having a conversation, man. And when you're having that and you're doing that through video, it's more real, it's more raw, and it's more effective. So just by the way, just in case, guys, in case you guys don't know, we're talking about Vidyard video. After we're done with this, don't do it now because we got another question and I want to post up. But go to vidyard.com, vidyard.com, vidyard.com. Check out the free platform. There's a pro platform that you can pay for. It's very, very cheap. And I mean, think about it. If you get one deal that's going to net you if you get a $20,000 deal out of it, trust me, the yearly subscription for the license is peanuts. So let's see what we got here. We got from Ali. It says, hey, Chris, do you remember when we did the Hot Ones video? That was so random, but we got a ton of engagement. I missed the fun part of using video in the office setting. Ali works with Vidyard. He's your one of your peers and counterparts over there, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So what he's referring to was the funnest video I've ever made. He was like, hey, do you want to do something for LinkedIn? And I was like, sure. What do you have in mind? And he's like, well, I want to do a video where you're interviewing me and I'm eating hot sauce. And I was like, okay, bet, let's do that right now. And halfway through, poor guy, I swear he was snorting and choking and just like sweating so hard, but the video was just magic because it was funny and relatable and it got people's attention and everybody on LinkedIn really loved it. And it was a way to get to know me and Ali a little bit more.
That's amazing. That's cool. And that's what it is, being creative. And I think a lot of organizations right now, if they can see that you're being creative, you're thinking outside the box, that makes you so such an asset to the organization, especially in a sales role, to be able to have that ability to just show on video and put yourself out there. A lot of people are so afraid to do that and do things so cool like that, where you're eating hot sauce and you're trying to pitch and you're answering questions. I mean, totally cool, guys. I'm a fan. I'm a diehard fan. I mean, it's so real for me. I can't even believe. I thank God that we have this platform. So I want to thank you, Cristiana, for jumping on. I want to thank Ali. I want to thank the whole Vidyard team again. Let me put it up because I think it needs to be put up there. If you guys have any questions, you want to take a look, go onto the website, vidyard.com. Make sure that you read through it. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I use the platform quite a bit. I can connect you to Cristiana and she can answer some questions for you as well. The whole team over there, Rory and all the guys, super, super excited about what we got going on here. So Cristiana, I just want to say thank you so much for participating in this podcast. When we talk about selling during crisis, reinventing yourself, like I said, there was certain people that I had in mind and certain organizations that I had to have on. Vidyard was one of them. So the fact that you're doing this for us, the community here, and I know that we're reaching other people in other states, but I can just speak to the folks that I know here in Central Florida. They need this, right? And they need to make sure that, so many people are suffering right now. Sales are down all across the board. What's something that we can do to maybe help push someone over the hump? Vidyard, I think, is that. So I really am grateful and humbled that you participated in the show. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me. Like Jonathan said, if anybody wants to get in contact with me, I'm more than just an email away. I'd be really impressed if you reach out with a Vidyard. I'll tell you that much if you have a question, but let me know. I'm here to help. We have such a great team. If you have any questions, we have an inbound team that would be happy to help as well. So we're all here to help during this crisis.
Super cool. Well, all right, Cristiana, have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And for you guys who are in sales that are watching this podcast, go out and sell something. Take care.
Thanks, Jonathan. Bye now.